So there was a drill from start to finish, and they don't want to talk about it, and they're calling it a conspiracy theory.
Just go slow. Take your time.
I've always told you, don't be part of drills, because most of the time it isn't a staged attack. But when there is an attack, it's a drill. It's always a drill, because when they get caught with the bombs, they always, this happened before, they always say, in Gladio, the Russians have been caught, NATO's been caught, they say, oh, I'm part of a drill. Because 99% of the police aren't part of it. It was a drill on 7/7 where they told the young Muslims, be part of a drill for the UK, your good liberal school teacher Muslims, and they blew them up, folks, on the train and on the bus. And one guy figured it out and was running, and they executed him in Canary Wharf. And then that was taken out of the newspaper with a D notice. A federal emergency notice had that removed. Witnesses saw them, they gunned down several guys, chased them down and gunned them down, you know, right there in front of a tourist district because they figured out what happened. And I'm telling you, do not be part of a drill. If you're police, if you're military, they're getting ready to say military are terrorists. All they do is tell military intelligence has been sheep-dipped into domestic operations. Hey, you're now going to go be part of this drill, carry this and simulate being the terrorist. And most of the time, they're not going to do it. But let me tell you, 1 out of 100 drills or so, they're going to blow it up. Or they're going to tell you leave it, and then you're going to get arrested. You're going to get drugged up. You're going to get tortured. You're going to get electroshock therapy until you go before the military tribunal and say that you bombed the Sears Tower, or you bombed the mall, or you bombed the school. I'm going to tell you, it's just like Arlington Road. The professor's trying to stop it, and they trick him to run, you know, to be on the news and then run into the parking garage when it goes off. I mean, they're telling you how they do it right there. Okay, I'm getting chills.
Navy SEALs spotted at Boston Marathon wearing suspicious backpacks. So let's take a look right there. That is Chris Kyle, the celebrated sniper who recently lost his life. And we'll scroll down and look at some of the other images of these other SEALs. Just for 1 second, we'll pause on that image of Chris, just scroll up just a little bit to the hat. And you can see he has the Punisher logo, the skull logo, and we'll move down to these other guys photographed at the Boston race. And you can see that's not the best image right there, but let's take a look at their clothing first before we move on to the skull images. Matching black jackets. We see the matching pants, the matching boots. Now, they're not wearing fatigues, but I would still call that a uniform, even have matching backpacks. We'll scroll down a little bit more to some more images, and you can see the Punisher logo right there on the gentleman's hat. So these guys are walking around together. They're dressed dressed similar or pretty much identical, in fact, and you can see the logo right there on his hat. So I would say it's safe to say that these guys were in cahoots with each other. Now, what exactly were they doing there? The jury's still out on that. There's been a lot of speculation that these guys may have been up to some dirty deeds, or the jury is still out on that, and we'll keep you up to date on that in the meantime. Next story.
Paul Watson, one of my best researchers, was about to come on as a guest. And he said, Alex, they have these big sites with data dumps of photos and news feeds. There are guys in uniforms, the same boots, the same pants, the same black shirts and coats, with backpacks all over the last mile. And there's people walking around with what looks like detonators in their hands. And all this is going on. And then there's like patsies whose bags match the wreckage of what the news put on air and said was the remains of the black canvas bags. So we went on air with this, and 5 minutes after, it's during break, and I watch Wolf Blitzer panicking, going, oh, I guess they're going to arrest somebody later. And they've got all this evidence, and it's footage from inside a shopping center. And I'm like, well, wait, that's the footage we've got. And so they were responding right then because they already knew about this. These were public videos and photos for almost 2.5 days. And it was hiding in plain view because all over it are men wearing Navy SEAL caps with the Punisher logo that all the SEAL teams wear, identical to what Chris Kyle wore. And you see Chris Kyle in his photos wearing the tan combat boots, the tan pants, the black shirt. Same deal over and over again. And we have the photos and the videos of all of this. And we have the eyewitnesses who've confirmed that indeed they were told, it's a drill, don't worry about guys in backpacks everywhere.
There was people on the roof with binoculars looking down onto the athletes' village at the start. There was dogs with their handlers going around sniffing for explosives, and we were told on a loud announcement that we shouldn't be concerned, this was just a drill.
So there were all these black backpacks so that police who weren't compartmentalized couldn't stop what was happening. And the real evidence of this being a false flag is that they've covered up that, and they lied about it in the press conference, the drill that's now been confirmed, that was in the Boston Globe, that was covered in News 15. And since then, National News and others have talked to the marathon coach that witnessed all this, announcing, everybody be calm, don't worry about the guys with the backpacks. You see the photos, the men that look like SEALs, they look like military, bottom line, are standing around in control of the situation with their backpacks on their cell phones, right in the area across the street where the bomb goes off, where they have the patsy. And I said, if this is the real patsy, because his straps of his backpack match the FBI photos of what was left of the backpack, they won't be able to release this now because we have all the John Doe number 2s, 3s, 4, 5s, and 6s already digitally online. It isn't like Oklahoma City where the feds could declare, hey, we're going to say national security on all these 17 surveillance cameras and confiscate the VHS. This is out there. And so then they announce, we have arrested the suspect. We're going to release it. And then they said, well, now we're not, and there's not going to be a press conference, and there wasn't an arrest. Ladies and gentlemen, we have absolutely blown their program wide open because they can't show the patsies who are right there where the flags were, right there where the bomb went off, on all these different video cameras, showing different angles of it and photos. They can't show that when they're surrounded by guys in kind of the off-duty Navy SEAL uniform that the general public doesn't notice, but that is black shirts, black jackets, and khakis and tan combat boots. This is incredible, ladies and gentlemen. This is off the charts. And the media is like, well, we've never heard of this before. They didn't arrest the guy, and they've evacuated the courthouse he was supposedly in and for whatever cover-up. And now there won't be a press conference. And who knows what's going to happen with Obama tomorrow now. The whole script is screwed up because people basically looked at what was happening. So, if a tree fell in the forest and no one was there to hear it, did it make a sound? We're here watching this, the drills, our reporters at the press conference. They're acting incredibly suspicious as soon as he brings up false flag and drills at the press conference.
Was there any prior knowledge, Joe? Because according to BostonGlobe.com, they said they were doing drills this morning for the same exact thing that happened, according to BostonGlobe.com. Now, was you guys given any warning ahead of time of this taking place?
As I said earlier, there was no specific intelligence. We certainly increase our posture around a big event like this. All of those things happened in preparation for this event, but there was no specific intelligence that anything was going to happen.
Did you take any questions?
Oh, sir, why were loudspeakers telling people in the audience to be calm moments before the bomb went off? Is this another false flag stage attack to take our civil liberties and put more Homeland Security sticking their hands down on the pants on the streets?
No. Next question.
That's it. Why was people being told prior?
9:30 tomorrow morning.
Why was people being told prior to the bombs going off to stay calm? That's a false flag, gentlemen. Just to put more TSA on the street to rob our civil liberties.
These are the signs. And then you have Bush, Cheney, and Obama being indicted by a congressional bipartisan committee for premeditated torture and telling the military to carry out criminal torture. You've got that coming out while this is happening. There is a major shakeup at every level. And the fight for the heart and soul of this country is happening right now. But this is unprecedented. And folks, you know I don't go on air and say this is the biggest thing ever without it being huge. This is hands down the most out of control, wild, breaking news that we've ever brought to you. And quite frankly, I don't want to be the person breaking this. This is incredibly dangerous. I just hope all of you viewing this realize the magnitude of it. Go to Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, get the photos, the videos, archive it, put it on your blogs, because they can't roll out the patsies now that, you know, the bombs blow up and they're running with their clothes half off like a cartoon character or something. They can't do that now because all their people on the drill are there. And again, the drill is used where most people in the drill aren't involved, but that way you could just detonate a bomb with somebody in the drill and then blame it on them. But you bring the patsies in, the Lee Harvey Oswalds, the Tim McVeighs, to be part of this. This is unprecedented. And, you know, I went and bought champagne 4 years ago when the Copenhagen documents came out that they were fraudulently lying about global warming to create a global tax. I popped champagne on the air. I called it a Death Star exploding event. This dwarfs that. If you take this news and get it out to people, this is a huge defeat. I mean, this is a huge defeat and a testament to the people. This false flag is in chaos. I commend the crew. I commend you, the viewers and listeners. It's up to you whether this thing gets millions of views. Everybody needs to see this. They are in disarray right now. I've talked to Dr. Pachenik and others. Clear false flag to basically go after the American people. This is amazing. This is a devastating victory, especially if we use it.
Welcome back to the InfoWars Nightly News. I'm your host, Rob Dew. Thanks to Jakari Jackson for actually sitting in and doing the live portion. We pre-recorded this interview a few hours earlier, and we're about to talk to Anthony Gucciardi. You may have known him from Natural Society. He's also started a new website called StoryLeak.com, and there's the story right there. Boston Runner details latest. Police must have known about bomb threat. And he spoke with Alastair Stevenson, the coach from University of Mobile, the cross-country coach who ran in the marathon, had just finished, and he thought it was weird that he saw police dogs and announcements over loudspeakers to be calm. It was just a drill. He saw people on the roofs. And then when we had Dan Badandi go to the press conference and ask about this, they said there was no sort of intelligence, nothing like that. So I guess they didn't technically lie to him. They just said there was no previous intelligence. They probably didn't want to admit that they had a drill going. But anyway, we turn now to Anthony Gucciardi. How you doing today?
Hey, thanks a lot for having me.
Oh, I think what you did was great. How did you get a hold of Mr. Stevenson? And tell us about the interview. And actually, we're going to go to a clip of this in a second, but go ahead and tell us about how you were able to pull this off.
Well, it took a while. I went on Google and pretty much searched him. He works at a University of Mobile in Alabama. He's actually a very reputable coach, and I found out his number from one of the coaching websites. I gave him a call, and he just decided to call me back despite the fact that we had mainstream media calling him. He had hundreds of messages, and he decided to call me back, and I told him what was going on. I said, listen, they're saying that there was never a drill, that they had no intelligence whatsoever. And he was amazed at what was going on because his phone had been dead pretty much, and he wasn't really connected with what was going on. He couldn't believe that they were denying it. So we did a short 4-minute interview, and I told him, you know, what was going on. He said, great, let's get the truth out there. And he felt pretty much betrayed by the mainstream media since they were completely ignoring him, and some of them are calling him crazy.
Now, here's the coach. This is the shorter clip. The full clip's up on Infowars.com. DrudgeReport.com also has it. Coach, bomb-sniffing dogs, spotters on roofs before explosions. And then in the very area, they kept making announcements to the participants, do not worry, it's just a training exercise, kind of like 9/11. Stay at your desk, everything's fine. Or just over and over again, the Aurora shooting, it's fine, it's just a drill. Let's go ahead and now go to that clip.
At the start line this morning, they had bomb spotters on the roof of the building, and they had bomb-sniffing dogs coming up and down at the start line. And Melanie said there was bomb-sniffing dogs at the finish line. But they kept making announcements saying to the participants, do not worry, this is just a training exercise. Well, evidently, I don't believe they were just having a training exercise. I think they must have known. They must have had some kind of threats or suspicions called in.
And then what are they going to say? And then what's their, you know, how can they cover up that lie with another lie, saying, well, we had a drill, but it was for other things. You know, we were drilling, maybe we need to get more Gatorade out to the runners. You know, I mean, there's just no conceivable way they could back down from this. And, you know, we've basically blown the issue out in the open, you know, so.
And we'll go to our next story. Follow-up attack. Ricin sent to senator who ended gun control filibuster. Second letter sent to Obama. A letter believed to be laced with the deadly substance ricin was intercepted in Maryland in a Maryland post office yesterday before it could reach the intended destination, the desk of a senator who had been fiercely critical of gun control legislation, yet voted to block a filibuster on the issue. The intended target of the letter was Senator Roger Wicker, a Republican from Mississippi, who in recent weeks has vowed to block any legislation that would further tighten firearms restrictions. And I like to show that tweet. That's a good tweet. Hold on to that one right there. This is by Jeff Galvin. Probably right-wing terror groups sent ricin to all 16, quote, traitor Republican senators to end gun control filibuster. And that's what we're talking about, people blaming these right-wing extremists. I'm not saying this guy has any merit or weight to his name, but those are the kind of things that we've been seeing. And I've just been told of some breaking news from the AP. I'm told that the FBI does have a suspect in custody. Now, this is breaking news to us, teleprompter free here at the InfoWar. So you can see the article right there on your screen. FBI, Mississippi man arrested, accused in ricin letters. And that's very interesting because the same senator is a Republican from Mississippi. So we'll see how that goes. I'm sure Alex Jones will have more on that on the Alex Jones radio show. But first, we had a caller call in today during the Alex Jones radio show, myself and David Knight hosting that segment. And he called and he said, hey, Alex, well, you know, we're addressing the thing to us, but about Alex Jones' interview. He says, hey, you guys remember when Alex Jones talked to John McAfee of the McAfee computer software, and McAfee had found out through some, I guess you call them hacked laptops that he gave police in Belize, that there was a big conspiracy to cook up ricin. Now, this is back in January. McAfee, you know, a very smart guy, I'm pretty sure can hack anybody's computer, found out this information that they had tons, as he calls it, tons of ricin being cooked up in Belize.
John McAfee, who has just been all over the headlines the last few months, is going to be joining us here in a moment.
Now that I'm in the States, I feel safe to disclose the information that I had known about for over 6 months, and that is the country of Belize has been accepting Hezbollah terrorists at the rate of about 10 per month for a couple of years, changing their identities, giving them European names, and then handling them, shipping them off into Guatemala, then across Honduras into northern Nicaragua to a training base, and also a base where they are manufacturing ricin powder, weapons grade. That is being transported north into Mexico, along with the terrorists, and in league with the Zeta drug cartels. The ricin powder, using the same drug routes that they ship hundreds of tons of cocaine through, the ricin is being delivered into the States.
So what can you tell us about the ricin?
A place called Wamblin, and they were making oil from a kind of beans. Castor beans is where ricin comes from. A single bean will kill an adult human. 1 milligram of purified ricin. In one of the text captures that we got, somebody, and it was on a young woman's computer that had no business talking about such things, talked about an MMD of 3 microns, meaning it's the mean mass density. It's the average diameter of a particulate of powder. Well, at 3 microns, it's definitely weaponized dust. You could take a kilogram of it and spray it over New York and kill every man, woman, and child in the entire city. This is a kilogram. And they're manufacturing this stuff by the ton. It was to me very, very scary. It was scary to the young woman. You may notice she said she was afraid. I brought her back and sent someone else with a little more experience. It's all for real, sir. If you read it carefully, if you listen to the audio tapes, especially of the Belizean official, it is obviously not something made up. There is way too much detailed information with names and dates.
You heard it right there. That was January 4th of this year, and we want to direct everybody who hasn't seen that interview to go to the Alex Jones YouTube page. I do believe we have that up to show our viewers. Yes, you can see it right there. Ricin attack predicted in January by John McAfee. And if we can scroll up, we can show you that is on the official Alex Jones YouTube page, Alex Jones official channel. So check that out today. You can also find that on prisonplanet.tv. And big ups to that caller who called in and reminded us of that. Thank you for that call.